That was a hard learning lesson. If anyone who wants to get into the nationwide model, don't turn off your local model to do so. Just make it an arm of your business and slowly scale into it. That way you can still pay the bills.
Yeah, yeah. I always say, like, I think you should always start in your backyard.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Look, pull in the spot. Ooh, watch how I drop. Believe it or not, this isn't all that I got. They told me to rock. That's not how I rock. Now I gotta pop Madonna.
Hey guys, welcome to the Flip Lab. Today I'm joined with my friend Corey Geary. He's running a nationwide Novation first, wholesaling second business out of his office in Phoenix. I've been in a mastermind with Corey for over a year, and the dude's energy is always crazy. He's always bringing the heat. And new father, congrats on that part of your life. And just really has been killing the game, really changed his life, got into real estate, and has been taking off ever since. So pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, man. I'm truly honored and blessed to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I really want to get right into what first made you get into wholesaling?
So back in 2017, I used to be a blackjack dealer, and I used to watch that show Flip or Flop, Tara Kambusa. Right. And I'm at home one day and watching that show with the girlfriend I had at the time, and she was a part-time realtor, part-time blackjack dealer. And we're watching the show, and we're literally watching the show, and she knew I had some money saved up, and she's like, "Hey, why don't you flip a house so I list it?" I was like, "I don't know. Why don't I flip a house? It's easy enough. 30 minutes, I make $80,000. I mean, this should, why not?" So the next morning, I'm doing my morning run, and I see one of those signs out in my neighborhood, one of those bandit signs that says, buy price, ARV 350, buy price 250, fix a flip. And I stop on my run, I call the number, and it was the company Net Worth Realty here local. Right. And I called it, I bought the house, took me 6 months to flip, I made $8,000.
A lot of learning lessons.
A lot of learning lessons. Started going to RIAs, met some wholesalers, bought my second flip from a guy named Chris Iman, who's a local guy here, monster wholesaler, great guy. Flipped that house, made $20,000. And then on my third deal, I kind of thought I knew what I was doing. I bought 4 houses all at once from Chris. We ended up having to use a new contractor, and that contractor took us to the cleaners. And on those 4 houses, I lost $250,000.
Oh shit, wow.
Yeah, lost all my life savings. I lost my 401k money. I lost my previous flip money. And so it reset me back to zero. And I was like, well, the question I asked, I wonder how these wholesalers get their deals. So I literally went on Google and I typed in, how do wholesalers get deals? And who popped up was Mr. Sean Terry.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So I went down that funnel, bought his course, and immediately took action, started putting banner signs out, started doing some direct mail, and it took me about 10 months, and I locked up my first wholesale deal, which I sold to Chris Iman.
Yeah, I know him and Jack are doing flips around town too.
Yeah, they are. They're great guys. And so that's how I got into wholesaling, and I kind of grew the wholesaling here locally. I built a call floor out in my living room, put a bunch of cubicles in my front living room, and hired people to come in and cold call for me because I needed to get leads for cheap. And I was like doing it, I was the acquisitions, dispositions, going out to appointments, but it became a headache because I was still working in the casino at night. And I was getting like 3 hours of sleep and managing the cold call floor during the daytime and still going out on appointments. So it got very tiresome. So about a year of that, we were doing well. And then I ended up scratching that. And that's when I got into Google Ads, PPC, and went nationwide with the whole model.
Okay. Yeah. So I know for the most part, it sounds like you're doing PPC. You have a call center. You have a bunch of reps, I guess, taking in those phone calls, calling the web leads. What has been your biggest challenge as far as going virtual, would you say?
The couple challenges there. When we first went virtual, it's not knowing the markets, right? So we'd go into the markets, we'd lock the deals up, but we thought they would be a good deal, and we couldn't sell them because we were wrong. We were just, we didn't know the market like we knew in Phoenix. Like in Phoenix, I was so proficient at comp deals, you could give me cross streets. I'm pretty sure you're like this too. And you know what the houses are selling from that area, you know what kind of area it is. Well, when you're doing virtually, it's hard to know that. So it took a lot of reps of just comping and learning different markets before we were able to, get deals sold. I would say out of every 5 deals we locked up nationwide, maybe 1 would close. So we lost a lot of money in the beginning. Because what I did do is this, and I'll recommend this to anybody, is we turned off the cold calling locally. we let all the cold callers go. I hired some of them to be acquisitions, one to be dispositions, and since we did that, I basically turned off what was paying the bills to try this new model, and it wasn't paying the bills. So I ran in the red for like the first 3 months, and it was I had a lot of sleepless nights.
PPC's not cheap.
PPC's not cheap, and if you can't,
like
and if you can't sell the deals, and you can't make it, if you can't monetize it, it was very expensive. I think the first month we lost like $70,000. The second month was like $30,000, and the third month was around like 20 or 30, and then we started catching traction. We started, started breaking even every month, and then started making money. So that was a hard learning lesson. If anyone who wants to get into the nationwide model, don't turn off your local model to do so. Just make it an arm of your business and slowly scale into it. That way you can still pay the bills.
Yeah. I always say, I think you should always start in your backyard.
Absolutely.
We tried to actually go in virtual. We're doing most of our deals in New Jersey. And last year we went virtual for a little while, and it was kind of the same problems. It's like in Phoenix, you find a deal, anything will sell. Any lot, any cracked in, it don't fucking matter. But in other markets, you get something, looks like a good house, and then you put it out there, and it's like
crickets.
I guess no one buys here at all. New Jersey's a very kind of populated area too. A lot of things are moving if it's somewhat decent. So we found virtual being a challenge. But I guess the way you're scaling it now, I feel like going virtual is how you can kind of increase that monthly income and the amount of deal size a lot easier than trying to figure out how do we get 30, 40 deals a month in Phoenix.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the scalability is limitless. Really is. We're doing probably about anywhere from 20 to 30 deals a month right now. I think we have about 62 deals on the board right now, and it's just you can pick up so many properties nationwide. The challenge comes on the disposition side. Where on the local model, it's not, the disposition side is easy. Yeah, the challenge is the acquisition side, but the tables turn when you go nationwide. So learning how to dispo the deals the most efficient way is very important. So my disposition process is so much more robust than my acquisition process now. And we use Investor Lift to help sell the wholesale deals, and then everything else we're listing on the MLS nationwide. And fortunate enough now that we've transitioned to Novations, it's making our disposition process so much more easier because we're selling to an end buyer instead of an investor on MLS.
So I want to talk to you about that because right now it's really hard to find deals. That's probably the hardest part right now in this market. Inventory is just super low. When you talk to sellers, they do have options in front of them. How are you utilizing Novations to get, I feel like those people who might kind of be on the edge, kind of have nicer homes, less distressed people, how are you still turning those into deals?
Yeah, and that's a great question because in PPC, a lot of those leads that are coming in, they do have some time on their hands, and they're not as distressed as like you said, and the houses are livable. And anytime that's the situation, and they need more money than what a cash offer would be, that could fit a Novation. And so we just let them know and say, hey, Mr. Seller, we're not your buyer because as investors, we have to make a marginal profit. But with that being said, also as investors, we are excellent at selling properties at a very high price to end buyers because we have to do it all the time with our fix and flips. If we're able to partner with an end buyer through means of realtors, MLS, and the network of buyers we have and get you that asking number that you're wanting, would you be open to that? And that's what they're like, well, how would that work? Well, we called our concierge service, and our concierge service, we're going to partner with the buyer. We're going to take care of all the title fees. We're going to take care of all the realtors. We're going to take care of, any inspection repairs, appraisers, and all you got to do is sit back and collect your check. And so they're calling us because they want that convenience of a cash offer. So we're giving them the convenience of a cash offer, but then taking it and selling it to an end buyer. And we're upfront with the whole transaction with them and completely transparent. So there's not a lot of this, like when you're wholesale, you don't want to let them know you're selling the contract. You don't want to let your buyers know what you got the property locked up. You're holding back all this information. You work in this gray area. It's like, walking on glass. With Novations, you don't have any of that. And so you have a lot less deals falling apart because of that.
Yeah. And I feel like too, what we've run into, we're not really utilizing Novations yet, but we do PPC. So all of a sudden, they click on it, they fill out a web form. They're filling out 4 or 5 other web forms.
Absolutely.
Right? So now all these flipper guys, They're all going to the house. They're all making their same offers based upon the ARV minus repair costs. So we're all in this low range.
Yep.
I feel like with your offer, it's a better offer than all these other flipper guys to kind of separate yourself. So
Absolutely.
They choose you guys.
And that's how we're able to lock up so many deals. And then sometimes they're talking to, a lot of creative guys too, because we all know with the sub 2 stuff that's so popular right now, everyone's pitching the creative financing, and we'll let them know, hey, Mr. Seller, you don't have to take your money over 10, 20, or 30 years. You'll get your money in 2 or 3 months with us. And we're offering almost the same price.
You don't got to leave a mortgage in your name.
Right.
You're still getting the sale that you wanted. Essentially, you're being like, it sounds like, just an easy button realtor.
It is. It's the concierge service, it's the convenience, and that's all they really want.
It's becoming extremely prevalent. I feel like not even just in real estate, but in society as a whole. People are prioritizing convenience over maybe a couple bucks. Now, what we run into though, they're not willing to, give away $40,000 in equity for some convenience. So how are you really making money on those? Like, when we're running the numbers, we're like, we got to be at 140 to make 30K on this flip. They're asking 170. There's our margins, let's say, right? So it doesn't work for us as a flipper. Right. How are you coming in and doing that? And like, how are you monetizing that? What does that look like?
So it's very similar to how a realtor would go out to the property and pitch a listing. We just got to back out the realtor fees. We got to back out the title costs. We got to back out any projected inspection repair costs, and then our fee. And that's all it is. And so like the minimum we want to make really on a property is what a realtor would make, the 3% on the sell side. A lot of times we make more than that. There's, we have deals right now that we're making $60,000, $70,000 on. But so you want to make sure you back all those costs out, be realistic of what the property would sell for on the market. You need to comp it you got to be very correct with your comps. You got to go in there and see what your average days on market are and do the price accordingly. And we always try to list it under market to what we think that it would sell for. That way we can get it sold quickly.
Now, if it sells for more than you thought or more than the seller even wanted, do you keep that extra or do you and the seller split that? Or
we do keep it extra because we negotiate a net price to the sellers, very similar to a cash offer. They want $300,000 and we agree on that. We get a purchase agreement from them to us for the $300,000, and then we do a novation to the end buyer, which is novation means a replacement of contracts. Where in wholesaling, you're staying in the middle and you're assigning the contract.
Right.
So this is a little bit differently. You're not the middleman no more. You're just replacing the contract with your contract. And then what we do is we cloud title with a notice of interest. So it's a lien against the property. And that's how we're getting approved for our financing contingencies. Because we all know that the conventional, they'll approve any liens. A mortgage is a lien, a mechanics lien. They'll approve all those lien payoffs, but they won't approve an assignment.
Right. Assignment of contract, they see conventional lender, they're like,
doesn't work.
Not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Usually what we would even possibly do is like close on it, maybe wait 30 days.
And then sell. But the problem with that is also the FHA flip rule, as we all know. You have the 90 days. With novations, you don't have that because you're using the seller seasoning.
Yeah, that's really smart. So I guess those bigger deals, those 60, 70 are probably coming from the seller thought you would probably, make like 20K, which would have been similar to realtor commissions. That makes sense. But then due to appreciation, maybe the market, you're getting an extra 30, 40K more maybe.
Yeah.
That's where those bigger reps
are
coming
and
from.
we let the seller know up front, say, hey, so the buyer's gonna be paying for all the realtor costs, all the title fees, all the inspection repairs, and they're gonna be paying our fee. You're not paying our fee, the buyer is. So through our network of buyers, we're gonna market this property and obviously try to make a profit on our end too, plus pay all those fees. So they know up front that it's the buyer paying our fees and not them. And so that way there's not a lot of objections when they see the $60,000, $70,000 on the HUD.
Yeah. You're like, we paid this, we did this.
Yep.
That makes sense. Now, as far as the types of houses, is it only like list ready house? I'm assuming they have to at least be lendable.
They have to be lendable. So livable condition houses is what we're looking for on the novation pitch. We will do minor repairs. Like we will put a new roof on. We will put a new HVAC system in. As long as I'm under, I tell the team, if you keep me under the $20,000 mark on the inspection repairs, I will move forward with the deal. And a lot of those repairs, we're finding that we can just do credits. and we're not have to.
Right, you don't actually. Yeah. Hey, it needs new roof. All right, we'll take $5K off the.
Yep.
The purchase
And it works, and so
that totally is making sense to me. I'm starting. I'm like, I feel like there's like a lot of leads that we're kind of throwing away that maybe
absolutely
we could be utilizing this, and we're getting a lot of people coming back. Hey, Ricky, the cash offer, it's not quite what we were looking for. This realtor came over. They had this amazing pitch. They said they were going to do a 3D tour and the realtor pitch, right?
Yep.
So this is almost like just infusing those two worlds together.
It is.
So we're not throwing away, it's like we're paying whatever, $40-$50 per click,
right?
Just to throw those leads away.
Yep.
It's not very cost efficient to do that.
It's not. You want to have many tools in your tool belt to try to monetize that lead. Obviously, the creative financing world is a great way, to do that. And then so is the Novation world. And it's just been a game changer in our business because as we're nationwide, we're finding a lot of those leads are coming in. A lot of them are in rural areas, coming in through PPC. And so like there's not a lot of investor activity. So that was one of the pain points we were having going nationwide is we couldn't move those to investors because there was no investor activity in the area. But if we go on there and we see there's MLS activity and, we look at the days on market and be realistic about what we can sell it for and how quickly we can sell it for, we can go ahead and novate the deal.
Now, if you get in a contract to novate the deal, what's the type of risk? Like, obviously you're not taking title of it, but do you have hard earnest money down? What if you can't sell the deal and find an end buyer? How does that look like?
That's a great question. So the one risk that you always will have is the inspection repairs. Depending on what comes back when they get their inspection done, is you're responsible for either fixing that or giving a credit or maybe a combination of both. So that's always a risk that you're going to be in. So try to get as much pictures as you possibly can of the property, be as realistic as possible, and be conservative. The other risk is like you mentioned, you can, sometimes we will negotiate with the homeowner a hard earnest money deposit saying, listen, if we can't sell the property for, this amount of money, we have an earnest money for, on the line for doing this, because they're like, well, we don't want you string us along for 2 or 3 months and then you cancel on us, because we're being very transparent with the whole process. So sometimes it is hard earnest money we have to put down, and then that's a risk. And then we've done this once where we paid the mortgage. That was their pain point, is we can't afford the mortgage no more. We can't afford the $1,600 a month. So, okay, how about we pay the $1,600 a month while we go through the process? And they're like, yeah, sure. If you're going to pay the $1,600 a month, we'd be more than happy to do this with you. And that's what we had to do. And it got a little hairy because the property was not in as good condition as we thought. In the end, I think we only made like maybe $7,000 in that property. But I was able to get my mortgage money back. I was able to get the deal done for the seller. They were happy. We monetized it. And it was, at the end of the day, it was a win.
Yeah, another deal. Now, our good friend Templeton Walker, he always says...
Love Templeton.
Right, shout out to Tim.
Yeah, please.
He always says, the best way to come in is investor hat first, and then bring in your realtor hat. If you're a realtor and you're trying to get into the investment space. So you guys do a lot of wholesaling and novation.
Yes.
So I feel like it would be hard if you're coming in novation first. I feel like it'd be hard to pivot to wholesale.
That's a great question. We don't come in with novation first. We come in with a cash offer first to anchor them down. So like, hey, listen, Mr. Seller, we're going to be at $250,000 because as investors, we do have to make a marginal profit. Oh, that's not going to work. That's way too low. So we're resetting their expectation. And then now coming in with a concierge service, and they're like, oh, you can get us 280, you can get us 290. And then that way it's that way we're getting the price that we want on the novation side. So reset the expectations with the investor, and they might go with that. And we've had this happen before too, where they've gone with a cash offer, and then when it comes time for the paperwork, we'll send over all the novation paperwork over to them, and then explain that process to them at that time. And then we're getting a novation deal locked up at a cash offer price. That's when we get the real fire deals.
Yeah. What would you say, like, what's your average deal size between wholesale versus a novation?
That's a good question. The last time I checked, our average assignment fee was around $17K. Our average novation fee is around $30 to $33K.
Wow. And is the time, I'm assuming the time on novations is probably longer than wholesale.
It is going to be longer. So you got to embed that in. When you build up your pipeline of novations, you got to know that you're not going to start seeing that cash conversion cycle hit your bank account and for another maybe 2 to 3 months, depending on the market. Because as we know, when you're selling to a conventional buyer, it takes them, anywhere from 30 to 45 days to close. Plus you have all that market time that you have trying to sell it.
Buyers back, like I'm selling my parents' home, like buyers just backed out
because
happens. Of some mold and, so like things like that happen more often. happen.
Happens.
So probably the process is longer.
Process is longer, but set that expectation up with the seller up front. That way you don't get that pushback, and just know, when you're doing this model that you're not going to see that money coming back into your bank account for a little bit longer. Than wholesale, you can, sometimes you can get cash conversion in about 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah.
It's great.
Quick money, it's great. But like you said, we're in a market right now where the sellers are talking to a lot of people. A lot of people have money. A lot of people are looking to buy. So they're not really like at our will compared to maybe in a different market where they're just willing to take whatever.
Absolutely.
Cash guy
the
will.
Competition's extremely high. And now with all the iBuyers in the market and the hedge fund buyers, they're paying a lot more than we could pay. And, we're selling some of our flips to hedge funds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're paying more than I would sell for on the market.
I know, it's
for
crazy.
It's insanity. So
with OfferPad and some of these.
Yeah. So we just got to be, cognizant of that, when we're making these offers, that's all our competition. So the Novation does allow us to get, compete with those kind of buyers a little bit better.
Yeah. And you're keeping it, I guess, like in-house. Like sometimes what we'll do is, hey, do you need a realtor? But everyone already has a realtor.
They do.
So it's
their mom is a realtor. Their sister's a realtor.
People are looking for, they came on Google, typed in sell my house fast or sell my house for cash, looking for an alternative option.
Convenience.
They're looking for it. So if you go, hey, like, here's our cash offer, they're like, no, that's way too low. And then you're like, hey, I have a realtor. They're kind of like, no, I didn't want that either. Like, I already got one of those. I was looking for kind of the best of both worlds. So it makes a lot of sense why you guys are monetizing that. Do you have a percentage of like how many of you said you have like 30 deals, like let's say in the past?
We have about 62 deals right now. Yeah. I think right now 27, 28 are Novation. So almost half. And everyone in the company knows that we want to be a Novation company first, wholesale second. But we're pitching the wholesale, obviously first to anchor them, and then we're going into Novations. I mean, I got one rep right now. Every single contract coming across the desk from him is a Novation. I mean, he's gotten so proficient at pitching it. It's amazing.
How do you pay them, your acquisitions guys on Novations versus like a wholesale?
It's the same.
Okay.
The same. So right now they're getting $16 an hour to be in office, but they get 7.5% commission on all closed deals.
Okay.
So it's
when it closes?
When it closes. So yeah, it's the exact same structure on Novations. I actually do the same structure for them on flips too. If I take the property down and I flip it, I give them a choice. They could flip with me. To learn, because I want them to have the same opportunities I have, or I could pay them on the back end their commission when I flip it at the 7.5%. I give it to them. A lot of people are like, "Oh, we'll just assign it." We do assign it to another LLC, but we pay our acquisition off what we assign it for, maybe a $10,000 assignment or $20,000. No, I allow them to monetize the full potential that we grab out of that property. So.
I love that. That's probably how you get guys really staying with you too. They come in wanting to learn real estate, so you get.
They do. We call it the diamond handcuffs. we allow them to partake in any kind of investment strategy opportunities. I'm doing a lot of other stuff, like we're buying mobile home parks now. We do oil and gas. We're drilling out 3 holes out in Texas right now. I let my team know, like, hey guys, you guys want to come in on any of this stuff with me? Feel free, come in, let's go. I could be the trailblazer and the risk taker, and then you can be the right behind me and get because they want to get rich too.
Right. Yeah. At
the end of the day,
for you and not some corporate job.
Absolutely, they have a lot of them have that entrepreneurial mindset, and so why limit their growth?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Building up a team of people who feel like they're building with you.
Yeah.
They're not just like building your dream.
Absolutely. I think the word employee is a bad word. We don't call them employees. They're team members. I don't have any employees. We're a team. We're all working together, rolling in the same direction to achieve a common goal.
Yeah. So now, obviously, you're marketing PPC. You're like the PPC guy. See everyone asking you, Corey, what's the secret? What would you say? Like I'm running a PPC ad too. Mm-hmm. I'm managing it myself. What would you say is like a couple of the most important things when running a PPC ad to get wholesale Novation type deals?
Okay, very great question. First thing, you just said it. Don't have other companies run your PPC, because all they're doing is outsourcing it to VAs, and then these VAs can't make those counterintuitive decisions on your business model to decide what ad copy is going to work the best, what negative keywords to put in is the best, what search terms are the best. So, I mean, that's the first thing. Learn how to do your own PPC. Now, you can outsource it in office, and that way you can watch over someone's shoulder and collaborate about it, but you want to keep it in-house. That's my first piece of advice. Second, don't restrict Google. Anytime you restrict Google on the cost per click and trying to narrow down to one market, is your ad spend's going to go through the roof. You're going to get $500-$600 cost per conversion, and it's just going to blow your. That's why I used to do that in Phoenix, and it was ridiculous. So we do what's called maximize conversions. Maximize conversions allows Google to learn what your lookalike audience is, and it will show your ads to lookalike audience, hence bringing that cost per conversion down.
I see. Okay. I guess, and then if people want to learn more about kind of the PPC stuff, I know we could talk probably all days about that.
Absolutely.
Do you have a group or something I see?
We do. It's called New Age Wholesaling. It's kind of a mastermind that we're doing ongoing. We teach how to do the nationwide wholesaling and novations with PPC as your main marketing channel. There's 30 members in the group now, and it's been just an amazing group. And man, the culture in there, all the guys who are in there are already they came in doing 4 or 5 deals a month in their backyard, wanting to scale and learn how to do this nationwide model that we're doing. So it's been a blessing. And you can hit me up on Facebook, Corey Geary, and you DM me. I can tell you more about it there, or to go to newagewholesaling.com. I'm also on Instagram, Geary Corey, just like everybody else, so follow me, friend me, and you can DM me anytime.
Yeah, totally, man. I just love what you're building up. And I was at an event talking with Sean Terry the other night.
I love Sean.
Sean, amazing dude. And
yes.
I feel like he kind of has a similar model. And then, you built up and took it kind of your own spin on it. And I try to tell people a lot, it's like, find a guy like you, find a guy like Sean Terry, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just listen to what he's saying, copy, implement in your market, and be consistent. And that's all it takes. My
superpower, everyone's like, what's your superpower? My superpower is copy and paste. I'm just going to find out who's already doing it and literally just copy and paste. I don't want to reinvent that wheel. You know what I mean? You lose too much money trying to do that. You just learn exactly what they're doing. They were successful at it, so it's going to work for you. So yeah, find somebody who's doing what you want to do, get into that area and follow them, and then hit them up for any kind of coaching mentorship.
Awesome, man. Well, it was a pleasure having you on, Corey. I felt like, you really, told the people Novations, I think, is something that everyone needs to be really looking into as far as converting more deals, which everyone's struggling with.
Absolutely. So, I think it's what wholesaling was 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, all right, we got to start doing Novations now. So I appreciate all the insight.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you having me here.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.